Thanks for joining our session for discussing how to modernize and migrate your applications with VMware Cloud on AWS. I'm the Global Alliance Lead for VMware at AWS, and my name is Rima Olinger. In 2017, AWS and VMware joined forces to develop a truly differentiated hybrid cloud service known as VMware Cloud on AWS in order to respond to a customer need. And since then, VMware Cloud on AWS has had tremendous momentum and key milestones that speak to the maturity of the service. Key milestones included regional expansion with the service in 17 regions to date, and we're not done yet. Customer expansion, including enterprise and SMB customers. We also made it a priority to deliver on new services. We're up to 200 plus features since the launch. In 2020, we introduced the large SDDC support, lower node entry point, multiple instance types with the i3 Metal and the i3EN, as well as a cost-optimized DR solution and multi-tenancy. We also laid the foundation for a platform of the future where you're not only migrating your applications, but you're also modernizing it as well. We have seen four main use cases driving customer adoption for VMware Cloud on AWS. The first use case is cloud migrations. This could be application-specific migration or entire data center evacuations. This also includes situations where customers are undertaking infrastructure refresh and they want to leverage the opportunity to move to the cloud without any application refactoring. The second use case is data center extension for additional capacity. Customers need additional capacity for multiple reasons. Sometimes it could be a geographical expansion, being closer to the end user, or dealing with seasonal demand spikes, or even temporary capacity needs. Customers might also want to spin up a test dev environment in the cloud. And they are operationally, and they want to ensure that they have the same operational experience as their on-premise environment. The third use case is disaster recovery. With VMware Cloud on AWS, customers can get on-demand disaster recovery solution with automated orchestration. Customers can use this solution to protect additional workloads, fully replace their existing DR, and add new data center or modernize their existing DR solution. And finally, the fourth use case relates to utilizing native AWS services to modernize applications. For instance, transforming database capabilities using Amazon RDS or incorporating serverless computing or real-time analytics in applications. We've seen multiple companies, including William Hill, PennyMac, Brinks, and NSMP adopting VMware Cloud on AWS for these use cases. Customers' modernization journey with VMware Cloud on AWS starts with the first step of relocating their VMware workloads to the hybrid service. Before the introduction of VMware Cloud on AWS, customers have been doing lift and shift through rehost. Well, that worked well for many customers over the years. VMware Cloud on AWS provides a seamless way for our customers to migrate faster, simpler, and to maintain operational consistency. Once migrated to VMware Cloud on AWS, customers can start their modernization journey by integrating AWS native services. We call this move to managed, where customer consumes a managed native service instead. For example, customers can offload database management for Amazon RDS or file storage for VMs to Amazon EFS or FSx. The architectural patterns we see from customers are driven by use cases. We see common use cases with data warehouse modernization by integrating the migrated VMC workloads with services like Redshift and database migration services. Customers can take it a step further by building data lake with AWS's portfolio of services like Lake Formation Glue. We also see customers take advantage of our monitoring services, and they leverage AI ML to achieve cloud operational excellence. One of the trends we see from customers is using microservices, for example, to transform applications. AWS has a rich set of services for a modern microservices architecture, from application presentation to business logic to different types of database services, such as serverless graph or ledger, with seamless integration with the VMware Cloud on AWS service. Now, this allows customers to take applications to the next level by integrating with our rich portfolio of offerings. The customer benefits remain consistent, which is simple to adopt, high performance and scale, flexibility and choice, and cost effectiveness. With VMware Cloud on AWS, we made it seamless for our customers to migrate from on-premise VMware environments to AWS with the flexibility on migration methods without incurring application or virtual machine downtime. Depending on the size of the virtual machine, the number of the VMs, or whether it is zero downtime is required, we have the right tool for the right job for our customers, whether it's ranging from live vMotion, hybrid cloud extension, or certified third-party ISV solution. The key customer benefits continue to be migration speed and simplicity, and most important, maintaining the operational consistency with their existing VMware environments. We spoke about how customers' modernization journey starts with the first step of relocating their VMware workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS. Once migrated, customers can take full advantage of the 180 plus AWS services to modernize their applications in 3 areas. One is operational efficiency, then there is data analytics and application transformation. If we could zero in on the first area, which is the operational excellence. The first step in modernization is to ensure customers have this efficiency. With VMware Cloud on AWS providing the operational consistency, customers can seamlessly adopt AWS's monitoring and observability framework and services to achieve operational excellence in the cloud. A solid monitoring strategy is one that can capture infrastructure and application data, derive insights with automated actions for remediation. Having such a strategy allows customers to respond to non-steady state issues faster, so they can be freed up to focus on the top strategic initiatives that add value to their business. AWS has a rich portfolio of monitoring and observability services that customers can integrate into the migrated VMware workloads. Let's highlight what that looks like. Customers can now simplify their monitoring strategy using the variety of monitoring and observability services that allows them to simplify their monitoring strategy with migrated VMware workloads running on VMware Cloud on AWS. Customers can now seamlessly integrate the workloads into native monitoring services. And again, the key customer benefits, they include simplicity, agility, and preparation and future proof for additional migrations. Let's talk about the data insights through analytics. Specifically in that area, customers want more value from their data. Data is the core behind every business and every decision. It is the number one technology area where CIOs are increasing their investment in. We hear from companies all the time that they are looking to extract more value from their data, but at the same time, they tend to struggle to capture, to store, and to analyze all the data that is generated by today's modern and digital businesses. Data is growing exponentially, coming from new sources. It's increasingly diverse, and it needs to be securely accessed and analyzed by a number of applications and people. We are hearing this increasingly from VMware customers as well, where they really want to have a data strategy that can incorporate their VMware workloads as data sources. And they want to embark on a strategy where they can gain data insights faster without having to refactor their VMware applications. Now, why do customers choose AWS Data Analytics? AWS Analytics helps organizations quickly get from data to answers by providing mature and integrated analytics services ranging from cloud data warehouses to serverless data lakes. Answers quickly means spending less time building and configuring cloud analytics services to work together. AWS helps you do exactly that by giving you an easy path to build a data lake and start running diverse analytic workloads. We secure cloud storage, compute, and network infrastructure that meets the specific needs of analytic workloads. You also have a fully integrated analytics stack with a mature set of analytic tools covering all common use cases and leverage and standard languages, engines, and platforms. And lastly, we provide you with the best performance, most scalable, and lowest cost for analytics. Now, many organizations choose cloud data lakes as the foundation for their data and analytics architecture. Up and managing data lakes today involves a lot of manual and time-consuming tasks, such as loading data from diverse sources, monitoring these data flows, or setting up partitions, turning on encryption, managing keys, reorganizing data into different formats, and access. AWS is focused on helping customers build and secure data lakes in the cloud in days, not in months. AWS Lake Formation enables secured self-service discovery and access to services without having to ask, find, and grant that access to the data. We also become aware of multiple analytics services, and we provide easy on-demand access to specific resources that fit the processor and memory requirements of each analytic workload. The data is curated, logged, already prepared for any flavor of analytics, and related records are matched and deduplicated with machine learning. This automation greatly reduces the time it takes to get to answers when your data is built on top of AWS. Amazon S3 provides a fully featured storage layer alongside both a comprehensive compute layer, the Amazon EC2, and a network stack with the speed and scale needed for advanced analytics. Building a data lake on this robust foundation allows customers to store all of their data without worrying about what to throw away, and it reduces the cost needed to do analysis on that data. AWS provides this diverse and mature set of analytics services that are deeply integrated with the infrastructure layers, allowing you to easily take advantage of features, for example, like intelligent tiering and EC2 spot instances to reduce the cost and to run analytics faster. When you are ready for more advanced analytic approaches, our broad collection of ML and AI services can be used against that same data in S3 to provide even more insight without the delays or the cost associated with moving or transforming your data. Examples of customers who have used AWS services for modernization include S&P, who used Amazon RDS, Amazon S3, Amazon EMR, and EFS, as well as PennyMac, who's using managed database services like Amazon Aurora, Redshift, and Textract. And all new application development will undergo a modernization effort with the use of AWS serverless technologies. Now, using VMware Cloud on AWS as a data source. With workloads running on VMC, customers can seamlessly integrate their data analytics or data lake journey by tying in data from the migrated VMware workloads. Similar to achieving operational excellence we mentioned earlier, the key advantage of modernizing through AWS Analytics portfolio of services includes simplicity, security, and high scalability and cost effectiveness. In this journey, customers first migrate to VMware Cloud on AWS, then they follow by copying production data, such as those from database workloads running unmodified, to Amazon S3, the best storage for data lake with 11 nines of durability, with low cost and high performance, as well as high scale. With data now moved to S3, customers can then build centralized catalog and security access policy so the data can be made available to various teams for analysis, all without sacrificing security, performance, scale, or governance. Customers can gain data insights faster. They can build up on the foundation to take advantage of AI ML. The last area of modernization is application modernization with containers. And with that specifically, with VMC, customers don't have to go necessarily from point A to point B, which is virtual machine to containers. They could have point A, virtual machines and containers, where databases remain unmodified on VMC, with business logic being containerized and with flexibility and choice of services. This is from managed Kubernetes EKS to native containers on EC2 with ECS, or even serverless with AWS Fargate. With customers' workload running on AWS, we also make it seamless for their cloud-native microservices apps to cross-communicate with the migrated workloads. Modernization also delivers economic value to our customers. We've talked about infrastructure and modernization. We spoke about also application modernization and how the operational implication of modernizations improve efficiencies, as well as increase agility and improve the rate of innovation. Now, on top of all of these benefits of increasing modernization adoption, it leads also to increasing economic value. This is from customers' data. They typically see at least 20% savings in the unit cost of a CPU cycle with just a lift and shift migration to cloud infrastructure. As customers continue to optimize their workload, their cloud instances through right sizing, license optimization, and selecting the best pricing, their usage behavior, they typically see an incremental 10 to 20% savings. Then by adopting higher level modernization approaches and services, customers experience even further cost savings, which many seeing savings of 60% or more. These savings can be reinvested into driving more innovation and value-adding activities. Again, the benefits that we see for our customers include agility and faster innovations, flexibility in the choices they make as they modernize their application, performance and cost efficiency, as well as scalability and availability. So in summary, customers' modernization journey starts with the first step of relocating their VMware workloads to VMC. Once migrated, customers can take full advantage of the 100 or now close to 200 actually after reInvent native AWS services to modernize their applications in the three areas of operational efficiency, data analytics, and application transformation. With that, I would like to turn it over to our IDC, Gary Chen, who is the Research Director for Software-Defined Compute. And Gary's going to share with us key findings of recent study on the business value of VMware Cloud on AWS for supporting business-critical applications. Gary?
Thank you, Rima. As Rima mentioned, I'm with IDC, and I cover software-defined compute, which covers virtualization, cloud, and container platforms. And I'm here today to talk to you about a study that we did on VMware Cloud on AWS. But first, let's start with some background. So today, we're really in the era of cloud and IT. And over the past 5 years, the use of public cloud has really grown tremendously, as you can see on this chart, where I plotted the cloud spending on IaaS in green here. And the on-prem spending shown in blue isn't going away, and it's still sizable and growing as well, but public cloud growth is really much faster, and IDC forecasts it will actually exceed on-prem spending in 2 years in 2022. But clearly, both environments are going to be around for the foreseeable future, which leads to a hybrid cloud scenario. And customers don't really want to manage on-prem and public cloud in silos, and what we're seeing is the growing importance of what we call cross-cloud control planes, which enable common management, governance, and other functions across a hybrid cloud environment. So in a recent study, 71% of enterprises indicated having this capability was very important to their strategy going forward. And the top 3 functions that they wanted were observability and monitoring, cost insights and optimization, and having a comprehensive view of assets, software, and services. So we conducted a IDC business value study where we interviewed 17 customers that were using VMware Cloud on AWS to quantify some of their business and technical benefits across a wide range of different areas. And this full paper will be made available to all the participants following this event. So overall, the top level organizational benefits that we found from customers using VMware Cloud on AWS, and this is shown on an annual average per 100 VMs, so you can take these numbers and size them for your own footprint. And what we found, there was almost $1 million of benefit realized per 100 VMs across 4 major areas. So one, the largest area was IT staff productivity, where they got time savings and productivity gains from more efficient management. And then second, followed by business productivity, where users were better able to support their business activities with more flexible and faster cloud infrastructure. And then risk mitigation and user productivity, where reducing unplanned downtime avoided the loss of employee productivity and lost revenue from not being able to transact business. And then finally, IT infrastructure cost reductions, where people save money by not having to buy, replace, or expand their on-premises infrastructure when they shifted to a pay-as-you-go consumption-based cloud model. So let's dive deeper into some of the metrics behind these numbers. So first, in the area of migration, which is obviously the first step in moving to the cloud, IDC, we found that customers were able to migrate workloads to VMware Cloud and AWS more quickly and with less staff effort. So we saw that migrations happened 47% faster, which shaved 3.2 months off the total migration time. And IT staff were able to do it much more efficiently with a 49% reduction in the staff time required to migrate. So a lot of this is due to the similarities of the platforms, where you have a VMware stack on both sides, which eliminates a lot of the compatibility issues and learning and skills issues. And there's also various tools which can help automate the migration. You can even do a long distance live migration, just like you do vMotion within your own data center to move workloads with less disruption. And so with the efficiencies of cloud, IT staff needed less time to manage, secure, and support the infrastructure, which we found resulted in a 40% reduction in staff time required. So this actually did not result in any kind of headcount reduction, but instead customers were able to move the IT resources to work on higher value initiatives and support business growth rather than spending a lot of time dealing with basic infrastructure tasks. So one customer quoted here mentioned that they especially like the on-demand nature of cloud, where they could get any resource they wanted right away, and that expanding anything on premises for them was a huge task, so that was a big improvement. And by moving to VMware Cloud on AWS, users also saw an improvement in performance, ranging anywhere from 20 to 37%. And this was measured across kind of overall application performance, the time to run analytical queries, and time to execute business transactions. So users saw faster performance due to a number of factors, just having faster physical infrastructure that's provided by AWS across compute and storage and networking, which is then exposed to the user with the latest software from AWS and VMware. And so cloud is also much more scalable, which helps workloads maintain performance levels when the load is really high. And so many of the applications migrated to VMware Cloud on AWS are business critical applications where uptime is a top priority. And so with VMC, we found that there was a 57% reduction in the number of downtime incidents. And when downtime did occur, users were able to remediate them 45% more quickly. So overall, there was a 76% reduction in the annual number of hours lost to unplanned downtime, which led to a per year benefit of $213,000. The benefits of VMware Cloud on AWS weren't just for local high availability of workloads, but this also extended to full site-to-site disaster recovery. So with the cloud, having this setup is much more cost-effective, and AWS's global presence and scale really gives users access to more locations and geographies, which one customer quoted here used to replicate their infrastructure across the world for much better redundancy. And with today's business conditions, remote working has become more important than ever, and more people are doing it. And organizations have been using virtual desktops, or VDI for short, to help with that. So these are desktops that run in a centralized server VM, and then the display is pushed over the network to an end user device. So VMC enables users to host these desktops in the cloud instead of their own data center. And we found that by using the cloud, desktops were able to be deployed 25% faster. There was also a slight 4% improvement to deploying the virtual applications for these desktops, but the main benefit was from provisioning the desktop itself. And databases are still a key part of many critical applications. And even very modern applications still use a database, though perhaps a different or more modern type. And data today is so critical to businesses, and it's really irreplaceable and priceless. And so with VMware Cloud and AWS, we found that there was a 28% reduction in the DBA time required to manage the database, which IDC calculated to be an annual benefit of $380,000. And so DBAs were more efficient because they had quicker and easier access to infrastructure and didn't have to deal with as many performance or scaling issues. And we found that customers are using databases on VMware Cloud and AWS in two different ways. So one, customers are migrating their own on-premises databases over to VMC and then managing them as they usually do. And the other way is using a database as a service from the cloud, like one customer quoted here did with Amazon RDS, which offloads more of the database infrastructure work to the cloud provider. And today with digital transformation, developers have really become the engine powering that as they produce all the software that drives those initiatives. And with VMware Cloud and AWS, we found that developers were 18% more productive. So moving to the cloud gave them instant access to resources and easy scalability, and it really removes infrastructure as a blocker to their productivity and innovation. And VMware Cloud and AWS also gives really fast access to the entire AWS Cloud service portfolio since it's all on the same network. So developers have access to modern APIs, a whole menu of different cloud services like AI as a service or blockchain as a service, various build tools, etc. And they can use these to experiment and innovate. They can build more modern applications, and they can do so a lot more quickly. And so one customer mentioned that they were able to move from conception to completion of an application in just 1 month for some of their new applications. And for existing applications, most of them are using a strategy of lifting and shifting the VMs first to VMC and then refactoring them over time to be cloud native. So overall, we found that there was a 43% lower infrastructure cost over 5 years for customers that were using VMware Cloud on AWS. So these costs included the management efficiencies, the availability improvements that we just talked about, but there were also savings on the core infrastructure platform costs, where users were able to more closely match their compute and storage capacity to their needs when using a consumption-based pay-as-you-go model, and that let them avoid investment in hardware platforms. And so it was a 43% over 5 years. So in summary, we found that VMware Cloud on AWS had a total 479% 5-year ROI with 5.6 months to payback. And it was able to drive, on average, $9.6 million in total net new revenue to the business and reduce the total cost of operations by 43%. So the benefits are seen across developer teams, better application performance, management efficiencies for IT staff, and reductions in downtime. And so overall, we found that customers really liked the familiarity and compatibility of the VMware platform, which they already have in their own data centers, while they also had access to the best of the AWS cloud infrastructure and access to the rest of the AWS cloud services portfolio for the future modernization efforts. So I hope this study was valuable to you and helps you in your own planning. The full paper will be made available after this event and it has more details on all of these numbers. And thank you for attending.